All right, so let's go ahead and talk about put and let's talk about remove real quick. And these will be really short, mostly because the more important ones are post and get. Once you've got the hang of those, then it's pretty easy. So let's jump right into it. So for us, we're going to be using server.put as we did before. And I'm going to be borrowing a lot from some of the examples that we did before just because they work the same way. So I'm going to specifically be borrowing from this example right here that we used for get that looked for a specific year brand model and then return that year brand model, that entry that was in the array for the dealership. So I'm just going to actually, I'm going to borrow most of this right here. So specifically the URL with the parameters in there, and also this search function in the dealership that returns to you the entry that matches this search requirements. But I'm going to take out one thing. I'm going to take out the year simply because I'm just saying right now that the year is one I want to update. So I'm going to search by the brand and the model, and I'm going to change the first brand and model that matches that criterion to the year that's passed in by the JSON. So I'm going to take away also this right here, and I'll be good to go. So returns a true, and then this will return that result in there. So kill my parentheses here. Okay, that's good. All right, so let's say that it doesn't find it. And similar to what we did before, again, I'm just going to steal this. If it doesn't find a result, then I'm going to send back 406 like we did before. What did I say? It was forbidden. I'm sure another request like a generic 400 would probably be better here, but I don't really care that much. All right, so 406 forbidden if there is not a result. Else, what am I going to do? In this case, I'm going to say result dot year equals request dot body dot year. So you can almost think of a put request as the sort of intermediate blend of post and get because we're using request.body here along with also searching for a specific element in there, just like our examples. So again, just to recap, we're searching for a specific result. If we find that result, then we update the year to the year that's passed in by the JSON. If it doesn't find it, then it sends back a 406 forbidden answer there. What's my problem here? What are you complaining about? Oh, missing a... There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and try this out. So, oh, actually, before I do that, let's send back response, and I'm going to send back the year that it's updated to. So I'm going to send back result dot year. Now that's all, it's been updated. All right, so save this. Stop my previous build. Run it again. All right, now I'm going to go back to Postman, and I'm going to change this from post to put. And I'm going to add into here, I'm going to say, what were my options again? Let's say I want to update the Ford Focus RS to a 2019. So Ford Focus RS. And I'm going to send to it a year that is 2019, which I don't even know if they made them in 2019 since they got rid of all their cars. But Let's go ahead and try that out. Put, whoa. Invalid status code. 5 internal server error. Let me see if it has to do with the fact that I didn't. Invalid status code 2019. But that's not my status code. HTTP server. Fine. Okay, there's some sort of syntax error in my code. Brand. Quest.body.year. Brand model. Huh. Was it this again? Did I do that? All right, 406 forbidden. Okay, that works. Because that's what it should be sending. I'm just going to send back the whole results now. I think that's what might be the error. I don't think it likes that I'm sending back just a number and not a whole JSON. Let's test out my theory here. Let's press post. Let's go ahead and post the year 2019. Yep, that's what it was. Okay, so just for your own sort of thinking, now that you saw my struggle there real quick, I sent back the year only, 2019, and you saw that it was sending, or it told me specifically that I was sending an invalid code 2019, since the range I think is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So you can't send a number. So when I sent a response back, just send the whole updated result. So when it sent back the result, it sent it back with 2019, which was the year that I updated it to, and it works just fine. So that was my fault. So that's essentially put. You can do something in here with making sure that the year is a number like we did before. I'm not going to cover it again, but that would go in here. But that's essentially, again, just a mixture between post and put, and searching in there. So let's put. Now, last thing we're going to talk about, which is delete, which is very similar. So we again started with server, which is the name of my instance, .delete. And I'm going to copy this. Actually, not this. I'm going to copy this one. Same code here, because it's doing a search, and that's what we did initially. So I'm searching by the year, brand, model. I have my callback function with request and response. The result is stored in here. If it doesn't find the result, then I'm going to send back a generic 400. 400 entry not. Actually, let's do 404. That makes sense. Entry not found for me to delete. I need some more. There we go. Okay. Last thing I'm going to say in here. So this is again the same stuff that I copied from the other search one. Is actually deleting that element in there. And so for deleting, it's not quite as easy as it is in. I shouldn't say that, but we have to use the splice method in JavaScript. If you're not familiar with it, essentially what it does is it says the index and then how many items you want to remove are the required things, or you can just say the index itself. But I'm just going to say over here, dealership, which is my general array, dot splice, so let's say remove, result. And then in typical fashion, I don't know if you remember this from array lists in Java, when you remove something, you send back that thing that you removed. So I'm just going to respond back with the result that I just removed. Save that. Let's turn this off, run it again. And let's run Postman. Again, we're not doing put, we're doing delete now. So I want to delete my Ford Focus RS. I don't really have to put anything in here, so I'm going to remove that. And then it should hopefully respond back with this same information there, because it's sending back the information that I just deleted. So I'm going to send. Whoop. Oh, I see why. Notice here I made parameters for year, brand, model. I only did brand and model in my Postman URL. So I have to do year, which I think it's 2018 /. So I'm deleting the 2018 Ford Focus from my dealership, send it, and then it sent it back to me. Now let's say that I wanted to send back the dealership without that entry in there. Then I can just say send back the dealership, run it again, send this again, and then, whoop. Entry not found. Oh, because I just deleted it. Let me clear this. Delete this, send it again. It's not letting, let's do this. Let me do the other one. Let me do Hyundai Veloster N. So I'm going to do 2019 Hyundai Veloster N. So this should return to me now with the focus removed and the Veloster that I'm removing, 2020 is what it is. It should just give me the Golf R. That's the only thing it should give me. So it's 2020. Send that. Whoop. What's going on here? Entry not found. Year 2020 model. Am I using delete? I'm using delete. API dealership 2020 Hyundai Veloster N. Year, brand, model. let us do this. Let me stop this from running. Run it again. Refresh ourselves. And now I delete the Hyundai Veloster N. Why are you returning to me an empty array? This has to do with how I'm splicing. Let me splice only the one element. If it's because of that, I'm going to get annoyed. I don't like the splice method. All right, let's refresh this. Let's turn this off. Okay, send. Okay, it was how I was splicing. That's why it was throwing me into a loop there. But I had to tell it exactly how much to splice, which I think I said earlier, and then I forgot to put it in there. I told it to splice one element, which was matching up with the result. I think if I use just the required one, it removes. Honestly, you can look at the documentation. But that's essentially it for delete. That does everything we require it. And it's relatively straightforward. And again, you can use it for whatever purpose you need to use it for, depending on what information you have, what server you have there. And so that's what it's doing. So just to recap, we talked about put here, we talked about delete, and we talked about post. And again, these same sort of actions that we're doing here might be tweaked a little bit based on the framework or the service that you're using. But for the general purposes of using a server and using REST operations, they're going to look very similar. So as long as you understand how each of these work, which again, today we talked about post, put, and delete. As long as you know how to write those, then you should be good to go. And again, there aren't going to be specific exercises dealing with each of these, but I highly recommend that if you have time, if you finished exercise 5, try out using post and put and delete with Twitter or something like that, and post your own tweets and stuff. So that way it doesn't sort of fall out of your mind. And you're going to be using some of that once we get to our final project. And I'll talk about exactly what that'll look like towards the end of the week. But all of this information will be used along with some of the stuff we've talked about before. That was a lot. Also, if you heard any chewing, let me see so that you can see what I can see. Coco is down there gnawing on a bone. Coco. 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 Anyway, we all need some midnight snacks. Well, 8 p.m. snacks. I just dropped my mic. Sorry. All right. Have a good night. And stay posted for the exercises later in the week.